May 29th, 2020. I am Harvey Aronson, one of the resident teachers at Dawn Mountain, and we are being totally virtual in the face of COVID-19. And we will have a period here of doing some meditation and some conversation and maybe a little bit of teaching. So we start with our boundless aspirations and then our recitation from Shantideva's Way of the Bodhisattva. May all beings always have happiness and its causes. May all beings always be free of pain and its causes. May all beings always be pain-free and live happily. May no beings ever cling to those near nor spurn those far. For as long as space abides, as long as the world remains, just so long may I be there, resolving all beings' pain. So, allow yourself to find yourself in a comfortable meditative posture, back relatively straight, your chin tucked in a little bit. Your eyes can be closed if you want, or they can be open, looking down and unfocused, or if you want, they can be open and be looking out or looking up. Your call. And begin to start to get settled by feeling into the contact you have with what you're sitting on. And just appreciate that you're coming into the present by being in contact with what you are sitting on. And if you really, really think about it, you know, the past is not there. The future is not there. And we are on a kind of razor's edge of the present moment. You look back to the past, there's actually nothing there. If you look forward to the future, there's actually nothing there. And here we are, sitting in the present moment, teetering between a present that no longer exists and a future that doesn't exist. And yet we feel contact with what we're sitting on. It's kind of miracle enough. And allow your skeletal structure to support you. And if you feel comfortable with feeling into your central channel, allow that to be a source of support. And we start by just opening up our sense of energy at the bottom of our feet. And our feet are completely open. And our ankles are open through our calves and shins, through our knees. Upper legs. The whole area of our buttocks is open, as is our lower stomach and lower torso and lower back open. This is our middle back and lower middle torso. And then upper back and upper torso are all open. Hands are open as our wrists, our forearms and our elbows, and our upper arms into our shoulders are all open, into our neck and throat. And our head is open all the way up to our scalp. And we gently sense our scalp area and allow ourselves to feel my scalp is loose and relaxed and open to a flow of energy, either from the inside out or from the outside in. And can I just be really, really curious about what it feels like at my scalp? And can I be also thoroughly accepting of whatever sense of experience I have at my scalp? And we can make the gentle aspiration. My scalp is loose and relaxed. My scalp is loose and relaxed. Whatever I'm feeling at my scalp, I accept. Scalp is contracted, I accept it. If it's hot, I accept it. If it's cool, I accept it. If it's magnetic, I accept it. If I am numb in my scalp, I accept it. Curious about what it is I'm feeling at my scalp. And maybe I can't even put words on what I'm feeling at my scalp. Whatever I'm feeling there, and whatever loosening and relaxation starts to occur there, I start allowing that to start moving down my forehead, sides of my head, back of my head. Again, it could be any numbers of sensations. It could be like fluid. Could be a sense of warmth or coolness. Could be fluidity. Could be some sense of magnetism and relaxation moving down the sides and back and front of the head, forehead. My eyebrows are loose and relaxed. And that sense of relaxation continues to affect my upper eyelids and my lower eyelids, the temples, sides of my head and the back of my head. My cheeks are relaxed, as is my jaw, my upper lips, my lower lip, teeth and tongue, and my neck. And the area where my neck meets my shoulders is relaxed and loose. And whatever's going on in my head, I accept it. I'm curious, and I allow myself to sense what's going on throughout my whole head. And allow my head to be spacious. And it may be interesting when I allow my head to be spacious, it may disappear. I allow my head to be spacious. And as you allow your head to be spacious, can you be curious? Is there a sense of spaciousness? Is there a sense of your head? Are they oscillating? Are they coexisting? So my shoulders are loose and relaxed, as are my upper arms and my elbows. My forearms are loose and relaxed, as are my hands. It can be very, very relaxing to sense that our hands are in warm water or warm sand. And we can sense our arms and hands. We can loosen our hands and arms. We can imagine our hands in warm water or warm sand. And we can imagine that our arms and hands are spacious. Our arms and hands are loose, warm, relaxed. Our arms and hands are loose warm and relaxed. And if we wish, we can imagine that our arms and hands are spacious, as are our shoulders. And as we're imagining that, are we in touch with spaciousness? Our shoulders, arms, and hands? Both? Do they alternate? My upper back is loose and relaxed, and my upper chest is loose and relaxed. And in the center of my chest, the energetic center of my chest, is my emotional heart, my spiritual heart. And this whole area is also spacious. And so is it my upper chest and upper back spacious? Are you feeling and sensing the outline of your upper back and upper chest? Your heart center? You have some experience with your upper chest and upper back and your heart. My head, my neck, my chest, my arms, my hands are all spacious. Am I aware of spaciousness? Am I aware of my arms and my chest and my head? Do they oscillate? Do they coexist, spaciousness and some sense of my body? Doesn't matter. Just be aware of what your experience is. Just allow yourself to be peaceful and accepting of whatever your experience is. How is it to be accepting of your experience? Does anything come up as you are accepting of your experience? And so while you're in this state, however you feel this state is, can you call someone to mind whom you care about? And for the moment, imagine they have some difficulty. And do imagine that you are kind of privy to a kind of special kind of space that actually can dissolve difficulties. And so, whatever the difficulty is that this person may have that is close to you, you wish for that to be free and gone. And you breathe in and allow this to just dissolve into this kind of dissolving spaciousness that you're privy to. It just, it's like super Windex, just dissolves difficulty. Like a very, very small piece of cloud in a clear blue sky, maybe in the mountains somewhere. Just, you watch it, it just kind of disappears. And from that particular kind of spaciousness that you have access to, can you wish this special person well? May they be happy. Special person or special being. Sometimes it's almost easier to do something with an animal, however the case may be. May this person who's special to me be free of difficulty. From within a state of terrific spaciousness, we just take in whatever difficulty they have and just let it evaporate. Wow. Not holding on to anything. A cloud in the blue sky. And from within that, we wish, may they be happy. May they be free from suffering. And can we feel comfortable with the wish, may I be happy? And whatever discomfort we may have, can we take our discomfort and on an in-breath just somehow dissolve it into spaciousness, or make that aspiration. Whatever our difficulty is, its power to disturb us is either lessened or completely evaporated. Just curious. May my difficulties be evaporated. On an inhale, and on an exhale, may I be light and spirit. On an exhale, may I be light and spirit. And then just be with yourself for a few moments and appreciate the miracle of life, the miracle of this moment, whatever you may be experiencing, the preciousness of human experience and human existence, and the mystery. The past is gone. Future is not yet. And you're riding on a razor's edge of the present moment. Quite evanescent. And how does that affect you to recognize that? Just take a few seconds to be. Good evening, friends. Anything to say about that meditation, guided imagery? Question, comment? Anything at all? You can wave. We have so few people. It's easy enough. Dent, are we going to be able to hear you? Let's see.
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yay! Yeah. There you are.
I really appreciate this genre of meditation, for lack of a better word, and it kind of hit me in the middle of it that I don't really afford myself this when I do my practice, I start settling and then I just want to hurry into whatever the practice is. And I don't really take the time to savor and settle and cultivate this attitude of acceptance. And it's just it was just a sudden realization that I don't really offer myself that opportunity often. And I'm just sort of sitting with that right now.
Yeah. We had the pleasure, privilege, experience of being in Nepal 2009. It was a very special practice time with Ketan Sambo, one of our main teachers, one of our root teachers. They were doing a very, very special practice. And, one of the things that is part of Tibetan practice is just, they were doing this chant, and it was really like a choo-choo train. They started kind of slow, but at a certain point, the whole group was doing it, and literally at a certain point, it was kind of clickety-clack, clickety-clack. And it was just like, there was this syncopation thing. You couldn't really even hear the syllables, but since they were all in some kind of weird sync, it was the syncopation thing. And it's a completely other mode of practice than let's settle into experience. It's just like, how damn fast can we say this thing? I have no other way to describe it. I mean, it had its own kind of beauty and especially oral sort of to the ear beauty and experience, but it's just a different something. And so sometimes when we get oriented towards recitations and visualizations, it can be somewhat duistic. And it's a wonderful model. And I think, at least, I think there are probably some traditional meditations that are quite slowing down and settling. But I think for us in the West, certainly appreciating, taking some moments, it's really helpful to all of us, just to our physiology. Gosh, we're all so revved up, especially with whatever's going on in our country nowadays. I mean, I don't even know that we can put words on it. Yeah, but I appreciate the appreciation, Dent. Thank you. And I'm appreciating. Dent's got a new book coming out. Yay. Give us the name, Dent.
It's called Pursuing Purpose, a guide to finding meaning through meditation.
Pursuing Purpose, finding meaning through
meditation.
Through meditation.
Yeah. That's an exercise in self-compassion or something, saying that out loud, because they sort of overruled my title and gave me that title, and I didn't really like it at first, and it's sort of sinking in, and I'm getting used to it.
That can be a real issue dealing with publishers, where they get an idea either for a title or a book picture for your book, and it's your baby, and all of a sudden, oh my God, they've taken my baby to an orphanage. So I can relate. I think it was my book cover that I had some real difficulties with. Yeah.
What was your title?
Buddhist Practice on Western
No,
Ground.
Dance. I know
Dance.
your book. What title did you want?
Well, I had two titles. The first title I had was Coming Home to the Heart.
Oh.
And the second was Wholesome Mindfulness. And I really, Coming Home to the Heart's really, I named a section of the book that, I think, or a title, but
that's a lovely title, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry they overruled you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nancy.
Raised hand. From what you said, Dent, when I do my practice, I'm used to settling. And what you did with settling was, okay, I settle, and then you didn't stop. You kept settling and you kept settling. And so I kept settling and I kept settling. And I started yawning. And I didn't know how unsettled I have been lately until I settled the way you settled me, because I have my routine, but it only takes me to a certain level that I have accepted as that's cool. And wow, there's this other level that's cool.
So you got more deeply settled to the point of finding yourself yawning?
Oh, over and over. And just being surprised. I mean, there's my oppositional voice says, aren't we done with this? And then the other voice goes, no, because you're not done with this. I liked the thoroughness. It taught me a lot. Body-wise taught me a lot.
Yeah, and in terms of spaciousness versus sense of body, was one more predominant than the other?
I like, when I do my settling, I like skip sort of to spaciousness. And when you had me staying in my scalp, it was weird. and tingly, and there is something to be said for the middle of the settling exercise, not just focusing on the beginning and the end. So it was more in the body that I never do on my own.
Yeah, that's great. I think really our culture really pushes us out of our experience. And it's kind of countercultural to just allow ourselves to just let ourselves be. And it's wonderful to occasionally do it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Anybody else? Anything to observe or say? Going once. Okay. I continue to enjoy this book, Tonglen, by Pema Chodron, and even to want to return to some things that I think I've already discussed with you all. So the two things that I just want to revisit are one is accepting pain. That's on page 13 of this little book. It's really quite a lot that she crams into a little bit of space. So she identifies this as somewhat more advanced, and not everybody will feel comfortable with this. I understand that. So, she says, if I feel depressed, you can go to, since I'm feeling depressed anyway, I accept it fully so that other people can be free of it. So for me, in a way, it's a bit in tune with what both you, Dent, and Nancy were talking about. I don't think we mostly want to accept our experience. And especially, we don't want to accept our untoward experiences. I'm bored, I've got a kind of little headache, or I'm anxious, or I feel depressed, or I feel empty. And, sometimes I know, at least in my own experience, if I catch myself just noticing how I'm wanting to push that away, whether it be depression or anger or boredom or anxiety or confusion or inadequacy. I don't want to feel this. And just allowing that feeling to be part of my experience, whatever it is. And, so this is what I'm feeling. May everybody be free of this, what I'm feeling now, my anxiety, my depression, my powerlessness, my feeling like a nincompoop. And then I wish that I and all other beings, first I acknowledge it, and then may everybody be free of it. On the in-breath, I acknowledge this kind of tough feeling, and may all be free of this negative feeling. So there's something within practice of being able to harness our painful experiences. And my own experience is that to the extent that I shield my heart from the untoward, the unpleasant, the painful, my heart's kind of covered with Teflon. And to the extent that I can acknowledge, oh, I feel bored, I feel envious, whatever. I have a toothache. And just acknowledge, I have a toothache, I feel bored, I'm envious. Just acknowledging that I've got this really human characteristic. On the in-breath, may everybody be free of it. On the out-breath, it's one way of doing Tonglen. More classical way would be, I'm experiencing this, may I take on the boredom of all sentient beings into my boredom. May all sentient beings be free of boredom. It's another way of doing it. So then she's got Tonglen on the spot. For real life situations, page 15 in her little book, whenever we meet a situation that awakens your compassion or that is painful and difficult for you, you can stop for a moment, breathe in any suffering that you see, and breathe out a sense of relief. It's a simple and direct process. So again, it's, first, I think in a way, can we notice that maybe we're trying to push something aside? We're pushing aside something uncomfortable. Can we just acknowledge the uncomfort? And I feel a little bit unsettled right now. I have some fear about this current medical crisis in our community. I acknowledge it. I breathe that in. May everyone be free of, including me, of this unsettlement. And it's a way of making our life experience encompassed in a larger scope of purpose. Anything to say about that? Very simple. Objections, rejections, resistance, agreement, experience with Tonglen. Deborah.
Well, I find the way that you and Ann teach this refreshing. I think you said something like, basically it's in a sense Teflon so it doesn't stick in you. And some other modalities of Tonglen, you're really taking it in and it's dark and you're transforming it and exhaling it. And this just has so much of a lighter touch to me, the way you do it. And it feels more effective for me. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I think what you're tapping into is, it's actually a kind of profound observation. And that is, if we see pain and suffering, and I mean, in the Buddhist philosophical framework, have some feeling that it kind of really exists, then the other suffering is really real. And if I'm taking it on, I'm really taking it on. And there's a real me taking on this real gunk, and it's really going to stick to me. And But
But I'm going to get rid of it somehow,
well, somehow, and I'm going to breathe out real joy and real love, and that's really going to stick to them. Now, sometimes we do it that way, and sometimes that's where we are. But ideally, there is a kind of deeper realization that the way we get stuck on all this stuff is not quite accurate. And so, to the extent that we can spray some WD-40 on it and recognize that we're playing with motivation and we're playing with aspiration and we're not playing with inherently existing pain or pleasure, hopefully it can lighten it. And it's better for all of us if we lighten it, for sure.
Yeah, last summer we did that where we were with a person, I may not remember it exactly, about empathy, where we were involved versus a little more detached. And I don't mean detached but compassionately detached with love. And that was a very profound experience for me as a person that kind of absorbs everything around me.
Yeah.
And so that's helped me a lot since that time. And this had more of that essence.
Yeah. And I think certainly for those of us who tend to over glom other people's stuff, being able to recognize that a more compassionate stance of, I wish that you be free of suffering, but I'm not slurping your suffering into me, is definitely a better place to be.
And I guess the first time I heard about Tonglen was probably 30 years ago in India. And I was always really taking it in and mixing it and somehow sending it out as white light. But there's a tiredness in that for me.
Yeah, well,
like a weariness.
Yeah, I think we want to work with ourselves optimally. And I think it's just good to fine tune what's going to be most effective in our practice.
So it's been helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anybody else, anything to say or observe? How is everybody doing? As the country is, quote, opening up, which I unfortunately feel is completely insane, but that's my personal take on it. How's everybody doing?
Okay.
Susan, how are you doing out there?
I'm doing pretty well. I have had a loss, and that gave me some fruit for the meditation tonight.
I'm sorry. Was this COVID related?
Oh yeah. And so I was able to. So I focused though on his son, who's dealing with everything, and it just felt really, really whole and really good, focusing that space around him.
Yeah.
And it was a very gentle kind of feeling, really good.
Good.
Yeah. And so, So,
we have a friend who just kind of dropped dead, and we don't know if it was COVID related, but you're standing there 1 minute and an hour later he was dead. His wife and daughter.
Jeez.
Somebody in our New Mexico community, a beautiful man, and COVID's got, strokes and aneurysms associated with it, but he wasn't sick that we know of. But, golly gee.
Yeah, well, he had supposedly recovered from COVID.
Your friend?
My friend, and he had tested positive over a month ago, and he seemed to recover well. He seemed to be doing fine. And then he very suddenly dropped dead, like you said. And but he was, in his 70s. So
wow.
And, they actually listed his death as natural causes, which I'm quite sure it was not.
Wow. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
He was in a nursing home. So,
Yeah. How's everything with you, Dent, in Arkansas?
Everything's good. I mean, myself and my family, we're all safe.
Mhm.
We're one of those states that's totally opened up, and our cases and our deaths and our hospitalizations are skyrocketing right now. And
How does that affect you?
me personally,
Yeah.
just a lot of tension and stress and anger and worrying about the kids, because like everyone, you start feeling like, is there something wrong with us because we're taking this so seriously and other people aren't? And
I'm
maybe
relating to what you're saying so deeply.
uh, and the worse the statistics go up, the less people seem concerned about it. It's really, I wish I could look at it objectively and like as a scientist, because it's really interesting on one level, but it's not interesting like living through it.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
there's no way to even take. I mean, it's like partying on the Titanic, and you know, and the thing is blaring. We're going down. We're going down. Let's have the best night of our lives. But I don't even think people are hearing we're going down. But it's terrifying. The level of sleepness brought in the land is terrifying. I feel.
Yeah, like we've had more COVID cases the past 5 or 6 days than we had the past 6 weeks combined. It's just skyrocketing here, and the governor's kind of like, okay, well, there's no backtracking. We're opening up. You're on your own, kind of, and everyone's like, all right, let's have a party.
And with the exponential growth, it just seems like that's how it goes. It's like, you know, it doubles. The first couple of doubles are like nothing. And then all of a sudden it's like doubling, and it's like, oh my God. And my own concern in a kind of deep structure way is that, yeah, I don't think that, and some people have said this, commentators, it's not like money or life. There are actually sensible ways to do this, but they have not chosen to do the sensible things in the middle. They've kind of felt moved to money seems to be most important, and life is just being scratched off. And actually, part of what's going to happen eventually is they're not going to be able to open up anyway. So it's you know, at some point, people are going to get the message that this is really, really dangerous when enough people get sick. So it's kind of horrific. Deborah, you're muted, Deborah.
There's no plan, you know, everybody's kind of on their own in each location. And sometimes I feel like I'm being the COVID monitor for some of my friends, close friends. Like, are you sure you should really be doing that now? And I know they get kind of tired of me, but I can't help it.
Yeah. Well,
Sure are lots of opportunities where you have to decide whether you want to be a COVID monitor or not.
Exactly.
I'm impressed with how many subtle variations there are on the theme of, is that really a good idea?
yeah. Wow.
Harvey, I am so grateful that you and Ann are staying safe, because the one thing I can see that's going to come out of this is we're going to be really short on mentors. And it just makes me really happy to know that you guys are not messing with my piece of that security, that there's more likelihood than average that you won't just drop dead. So I'm really grateful.
Thank you for encouraging that. And I'll tell you, it's, you know, I can feel, you know, it's like what Dent said, you know, it's like there's this movement to go out and party. You know, why not?
Well, I wanted to say one other thing. I had some app I watched COVID on in the States for months, and then I kind of quit watching it lately because it made me crazy. And I noticed Texas, since we opened up a few weeks ago, has gone from number 11 in the country with numbers of cases to number 7. But I don't even hear much about that, you know, just denial.
Yeah. So it's even hard to get a sense of urgency
Right.
as our numbers are. So, yes. So this is our last Friday night. We're not going to be in June at least. I have the other dates to tell people. Okay, what are the other dates? We're going to do some dedications and prayers. Saturday, May 30th, tomorrow, Green Tara, 10:30, open to everyone with soak. Saturday at 11:30, private for those who have done the Yeshe Tsogel Dakini foundational practices. 11:30, you will get an invitation, be the practice, and there'll be a discussion of the practice. Sunday, May 31st, again, those who have done Charma, at 12:15, we will do that. From 11 to 12 on Sunday, May 31st, we will have our normal meditation. Friday, June 5th, full moon of Sagadawa, 7 p.m. We'll do the prayer for extreme times, and we'll have some brief reflections, and all welcome on Green Tara practice. Anne Klein. Anne says Tara practice at 7:45 p.m. All right. Annie, I'm calling you. Can you come down? We schedule Tara practice at 7:45 on June 5th. Full moon Sagadawa, Lama full moon prayer for extreme times and brief reflections.
7:45.
That's what we've got.
Is that what went out?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
That's what I was given in the email.
Oh, wait. No. Okay. Full moon Sagadawa, 7 p.m. Lama's full moon prayer and brief reflections. Yeah, and then at 7:45 we start the Green Tara practice.
Okay. All right. And then Sunday, June 7th, first Sunday talk, 10:30 to 11 as a special, and then we will be leading the guided meditation.
And we're going to try, did you say this already? Tomorrow, Green Tara practice. And we'll have, afterwards we'll discuss it a little bit. I thought that would be nice. Can people hear me? You can say. It's okay, you can say.
Anne is saying we will discuss Green Tara tomorrow after we
Just,
practice it.
Talk a little bit
She's a
about
spirit. An invisible Dakini is to my right here.
I just felt it would be a nice thing to do, because we usually enjoy talking
And
about it.
finally, I'll say, let's say Monday, June 15th, we'll have Dakini Day Yeshe Tsogel and Soak at 7 p.m. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff for Sagadawa. Appreciate so much everybody participating.
There's also the new Teaching Tuesday series starting on the 2nd.
Yes, thank you so much. On the 2nd, we are very proud to have two of the teachers on board tonight. Harvey and Dent will be teaching about emotions, as will be Mark Urowitz and Simone Woodage. It is free. It is open to everyone. Tell all your friends if it's appreciating emotion in our spiritual lives. And we'll be looking at the issue of spirituality and emotionality, and we'll have a lot of different perspectives, because we have 4 different faculty members. So I think it'll be a wonderful opportunity for everybody to talk about emotions, reflect about emotions in our spiritual context. And so we will dedicate and light our candle, starting with our dedication. By this good may I swiftly once become a great guru, lead all beings, everyone, to reach to that very ground. With all of you in mind, we light this lamp of clarity. May the glow of love wisdom shine within us, everyone, till we all rise forth, born in one enlightened mandala. Oh, this is going to be better. Still hardly visible. Tonight, along with all sentient beings throughout space, we dedicate the merit of our time together in our virtuous activity. Jeremiah Wesser in the Bordeaux, Catherine Wesser, Michelle Hunter, Sharon Jackson, Sylvia Rolando, Nathaniel, Leath, Emma and Ed, our lamas and all lamas, our and all sanghas, our skylit home, all suffering beings, COVID Shantim Kuruye Soha, Claudia Health, Rhonda Health, Jasper Kitty in the Bardo, Ann and Harvey, Gary, George Floyd in the Bardo, and Dr. Pedro Rodriguez. And so we will conclude with one which will be wishing well to all here in the community, our globe, and our universe. Lovely to have spent some time with you all. Wishing you all well. Stay safe. Virus free, please. This is going to be a really long haul, unfortunately. I mean, the more sober people that I read, quite a long haul. It's going to require a lot of patience. Very, very trying. Wishing you all well. Anybody want to say anything? Just hello, goodbye. Can unmute. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Emily. Stay healthy, stay well. May all your pets be healthy as well.
Yeah, right. Thank you all.
Thank you all, and to everybody here.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Have a great evening. Take care.
I'll see you tomorrow.